Right, so it's day 69 of this New Year's tree planting thing, so let's get on with it. Right, so as you may or may not know, there's currently a giant storm swirling somewhere off the east of Africa, and that's sucking a lot of moisture out of the air, which means that in places like Zambia, which are dependent on that moisture coming up onto the plateau, wetting everything and creating storms, we're not getting as much rain as we should be at this time of year, and that means a little earlier than usual we've entered what I call the death zone, which is when, during the beginning and end of the rainy season, you can be expecting rain, and you can be seeing clouds forming, but there's just not quite enough humidity for it to actually rain, and so you don't get around to watering things in case they get overwatered, and that means a lot of things end up drying out and dying. And occasionally you do water things and then it buckets with rain and it dries out, then it gets soaked and dies. So it is a good time of year, generally speaking, to plant succulents, but if you can, very tolerant succulents. So that today's tree going in is one of the Peruvian apples, which is a member of Cereus, and it's usually, I think, lumped under Cereus repandus. This is one of the types that does bear an edible fruit, and I know that because I took it as a cutting from a friend's garden when theirs was in fruit, and I thought, oh, that would be nice to have. And so that was in Southern Province, which does get hotter and drier than we do here, but I have found that cuttings of the same mother plant that this one came from. So this is a cutting of a cutting of a cutting that I took from a friend's garden years ago. The original cutting I took has never had a chance to grow into a tree because I keep taking bits off it to propagate it out, and just about everywhere I put it, provided I root it first, it takes fine. So it will tolerate very dry areas, it'll tolerate very wet areas, it'll tolerate quite a lot of shade and quite a lot of sun. So it's all in all a very hardy little plant. It should add a little bit of extra shelter to this area. It should shelter the wild pear and to an extent the K apple from the afternoon sun, but it should also shelter the Bauhinias and the Brachystegias while they're small and developing from a little bit of the wind as well, if it grows fast enough to do that, which is unclear, but it is a relatively fast growing cactus. It's going in mostly just as a little bit of shelter while it's small tender, with a piece of Dracaena fragrans, a couple of pieces of Kalanchoe fetchinkoi and an aloe cameroni, just to basically mark it out, give it a little bit of extra shelter while it's settling in, because again, this is the death zone. It would be nice if it didn't dry out too fast and die, but it should be fine, but it's being watered in just to be on the safe side. So that should be everything for today. Sorry, that was a bit of a rattle. It's a very short planting, so trying to get anything said before it runs out was a bit of a race. So thank you very much for watching. Tune in again tomorrow, and yeah, we will see what I am planting then, and I will try and get the review filmed tomorrow, but it won't go up tomorrow.